asking on the road, then I've got permission to leave and not progress with this.
Oh, that's understandable. That's understandable.
Okay, so I'm trying to engage with you and get a proactive and awareness program through this process. Okay? So I just wanted to make that clear.
I think the main issue for everybody is that when you drive down that road, you naturally do a higher speed than 50, and in the absence of a sign, it would generally look like an area that would be maybe 60 or even 80 in some people's eyes. So, and then when I've done some study on it, it does appear that it falls into the category at law of being a default 100, which is too high. And I appreciate that the limit's been brought down for community safety, but then a sign there just overcomes all the problems straight away.
Yep. My response to that is you're absolutely right. If there's any ambiguity, okay, council is going to be fully supportive of putting a sign in place. Unfortunately, at this time, if you can see our point of view, is that any signage that relates to speed, that relates to that kind of authority, can only be signed off by the Minister or the Commissioner of Highways. So my response to you at the moment is that what we're going to do is we've got some traffic counters out there now. We're going to get an understanding of the speeds that are in the environment, and that from that report or from that understanding and awareness that we build up, and through discussions with yourselves here today to hear your concerns, is we're going to now then report that onto the Commissioner with a recommendation of whether to put a sign up or even what speed to actually implement.
I mean, as a community, we did put a sign up to try and warn drivers, and that sign was cut down by the council within 24 hours. Was there a need to cut that down? I mean, didn't that scream out that the community do want something done about it? Yeah,
the authority to put signs up can only be undertaken by council or the state government. Community can't install signs, regardless of what type of sign, without council's authority or a relevant authority. Okay. So if you were to have approached us and talked about what your concerns were, which I'm sure you probably have done in the past, but that said, that what we're doing is trying to look at that and resolve that at the moment.
Yeah.
So
if at law, as it appears, it is a default limit that's higher than what people are being prosecuted for by the police, do you think there's any chance the community will get their money back?
Unfortunately, that's not for me to comment on. I can't comment on that. That's not council's.
Are you allowed to give a personal opinion as to what you think the speed limit should be there? Do you think 50's correct, or? Sorry to ask for a personal opinion.
No, that's fine. Look, personally, I do have an opinion, but in this forum, unfortunately, I can't give a comment. I want all the facts to come back and be relevant to the decision-making process.
Is the council going to take on the responsibility of paying the fines now that you've been alerted to it?
Unfortunately, again, I can't comment on any fines that have been the outcome of any discretionary act by residents and drivers. So, from a council position, it is a 50 km/h zone. From the state government's position, it is a 50 km/h zone. We can't change that or affect any change to fines that may or may not have been.
At the same principle, why couldn't they affect a temporary 50 under review?
Under the Traffic Act, you cannot affect temporary speed limits. It either has to be defined or not defined.
Isn't it already defined at 50? According to you, it's already defined at 50. So why not just put up a signpost and avoid all the confusion?
I understand your position on that, but the residents have raised a concern that is it 100, is it 50, is it 60, is it 80? Now, my understanding is it's 50. However, I'm happy to undertake that investigation to find out and make sure we get the appropriate signage and the appropriate outcomes for the community.
Like, firstly, I don't care what speed you put down there, but I drove this road numerous times teaching my grandson to drive, and the amount of times he was tailgated, had lights flashed, had people go past him whilst we're travelling between 50 and 60 kilometres an hour, because people clearly don't understand that it's meant to be, according to you, a 50 km.
Yeah, look, I'm hearing your frustration. I understand that, but according to all the road rules, it's 50 unless posted otherwise.
No,
that's
clearly not a residential street because there's not a house on it.
Okay.
The Road Traffic Act.
The word you've used is street, all right? And under the Roads and Traffic Act, it talks about area.
No, okay? Not according to...
It does. It talks about area, okay? Look, at the moment I understand your frustrations, your concerns about people tailgating you, but that happens in all streets and all walks of life. There's nothing that council can actually do about that. That said, we are again looking at trying to resolve the issue of what should be posted.
What the council can do is make the speed limit clear for everyone.
I think one of the problems...
I understand what you're saying, but I've said it 5 or 6 times now. We're undertaking investigation, alright? We're looking at it. We hear your concerns. The first thing we've done since this has been escalated is actually get out here, undertake the investigations and look at what the speed should be.
Can I ask, does the council request the police to come on that road and nab people, or is that a police decision?
No, council doesn't do that. No.
The council doesn't do that.
Not to nab, but council does have good relationships and works in a cooperative manner with the SAPOL and does try to identify areas
so they
and work
do
with
advise them where to go.
We work with them collaboratively, right? To
same thing.
let them know. Well, that's your assessment. That's your
what you're
assessment.
saying.
I'm working with them to try and reduce accidents and improve safety and quality of travel.
So you're telling them which
the community.
roads they think is a danger, you think is a danger, so they can go to those.
I'm not denying that we work collaboratively with SAPOL to identify and look at unsafe areas and unsafe travel.
Well, I think one of the things I did when people approached me from the community was go online and look at licensing. You know, when you're getting your license, and there's a whole section there by the state government on how to get your license, what the rules are. And when you look up the rules, you would think that to be default 100. So people are actually taught not to do 50 on a zone like that. So unless it's signed, people are going to naturally do a speed that may be inaccurate one way or another. So they're either going to get fined or they're driving dangerously. Either way, the sign will overcome it. So that's what we'd like to see, obviously.
Look, I totally agree. Where there's ambiguity, a grey area in the legislation, that is our role to try and assess, and that's what we're doing now, is looking at the area and trying to work with you, hear your comments and respond accordingly. We've heard you say that you want a sign to define and make no ambiguity. We're here to help you work with that and make sure that the right appropriate sign goes back in.
But at the moment it's 50 k's an hour. That's the law. You guys are responsible for putting up signs. Yes, you are. At law, you are the people that put up the signs. You're paid by and you receive funding from the Commonwealth Government to erect signage. Why can't you just put up a 50k sign? If you then find out later it should be 60 or 80, then you can address that by changing the sign. But until then, the police are going to just be nabbing people constantly.
You've not. I understand your frustration. Okay, right? You're not hearing me when I say it is not our responsibility to put up speed limit signs.
Well, it is. It says that. You made that clear earlier.
No, we have to go and talk to the state government, right, to get authority to put these signs up. We can't just go out. A council just can't go out and put up signs.
Okay, that's fine. Right? You clarified that. I wasn't sure. I wasn't aware that was the case.
Right. So, moving forward, I'm happy to put up a sign. Right, if the data and the outcomes are that this road is 50 and that has been designated 50, and that through a recommendation by the minister that it is a 50, then I'm happy to go and put up a sign. Even the minister can come out here and put up a sign if he wants to detail.
Okay.